Now, having the internet on our phones, as well as the huge increase in the use of social media, has changed the way we all live in the last 10 years, but it isn't all positive for some young people growing up while technology moves so quickly. According to the Children's Society, it's making more young people worry about their appearance, their friendship groups and their future prospects. The charity estimates around 30,000 children in London are unhappy, which they say is the highest for a decade, as Katie Barnfield reports.
Mental health has been a constant issue in Ellie's life. All through her teens, she dealt with complex problems like body dysmorphia, leading her to self-harm. She says social media had a huge impact on how she felt about herself.
I sat, how I ate, how I moved, everything was me thinking a bird's eye 360 view of myself. How would people see me? Now you can't just go home and get away from, people at school making comments. You're now going home to that on the internet or on your phone. That part of your brain that's not doing well wants you to be worse, and the internet feeds that.
Ellie took part in a photography project by JUDE WACKS, showing her scars to start a conversation about young people's mental health. JUDE came up with the idea after her own daughter self-harmed.
Certainly in my experience through my project and those people in medical services that I've come into contact with are definitely describing that there are more and more cases of children in primary school who are self-harming, and the struggle begins earlier on.
A report from the Children's Society today says 30,000 young people in London are now unhappy with their lives, an increase of 50% in the last 10 years. They've opened a pop-up shop on Baker Street. Every item represents a worry or a fear from children they've spoken to.
One of the key findings that we found this year was that boys are increasingly unhappy with their appearance and how they look. So one of the kind of things that we put together was an ego boost. You'll see on the products is about bulking up and silence those haters. So it's kind of about the negative comments that we might get about our appearance. The Children's Society are also calling for open access mental health drop-in services for young people. Kind of a model where there's no appointment necessary. Young people can just access emotional and mental health support on a drop-in basis.
For Ellie, the right mental health support is crucial, but when she asked for help, it wasn't there.
I've been waiting 3 years for my treatment. My life's on hold, and I know many other people, their lives are on hold because they're waiting to be better.
She believes more funding is needed so children across London can get help before things become serious. Katie Barnfield, ITV News.
Well, joining me now to talk more about this is Claire Kelly, who is Director of Training at the charity Mindfulness in Schools. Claire, thank you for coming to talk to me. As the name would suggest there, mindfulness in schools. You're going into schools and you're dealing with this very issue. Are you surprised by what we've just heard?
Not surprised, no. I mean, we've known for a very long time that there's been a notable decline in the mental health and well-being of young people and indeed those who work with them.
30,000 children in London, that's a huge figure, isn't it?
Yeah, well, the statistics are around about 3 in every average class will have some form of diagnosable mental health issue.
Yeah, and we do talk about social media and the effects of using social media. How much of it is causing this problem, would you say?
It's so complicated. I believe firmly that there are ways in which social media is affecting mental health, physical health, emotional well-being, and it's happening so quickly, I think, is the issue. We're not adapting to how it needs to be used. And so young people definitely need to be helped in how they skillfully work with it, because it's not going away anytime soon. But I do think it's also very convenient to blame everything on social media when actually, it's not just the tech companies who are creating issues here.
So if it's not just social media, what are the other things that you're hearing about when you talk to children as well in schools?
What's been really interesting, I was a teacher for about 25 years, and from the beginning of teaching to kind of when I left, the change I noticed was that children weren't just worrying about the things you'd normally associate with a teenager, friendships, physical appearance, exams. It was more the future. It was like 30, 40 years into the future. Will I have a job? Will I have a car? Will I have a home? Or the favourite one is, or will I be an old lady with lots of cats?
Oh, there's nothing wrong with too many cats. But listen, you go in and you actually train teachers, don't you, to work with children and deal with this very issue. And how important is it to catch this early, if you like, because if they have a problem as a child, it's going to get worse in adulthood.
Yeah, the earlier the better. You know, if you can take all young people, not just those who've already started to show signs of difficulty, and we know that the fallout from that is something unmanageable in terms of how long children are waiting to see CAMS. If you can get everybody earlier on and just give them some really basic skills that help them ride the waves, because life is difficult, you know, bad stuff happens, but if you can give them the skills to help them ride those waves, then you're going to see a real impact on their general well-being and happiness.
All right, Claire Kelly from Mindfulness in Schools, thank you for talking to me this evening. Thank you.
Thanks very much.